Hi Cancer, welcome to your daily tarot reading. Thank you for joining me in this reading. I'll be using the Lightseers deck and the Lover's Oracle deck towards the end. So remember to take what resonates and to leave behind whatever you feel does not from today's reading. So let's find out what messages come through with today's cards. So the first card we have is the Empress card. So with that card, it's showing Venus energy. So you could be dealing with a Taurus or even a Libra. Next, we have the Judgment card. And finally, we have the Seven of Cups in the reverse. So with the Seven of Cups, that's showing that you could be dealing with a water sign. So perhaps another Cancer, a Pisces, or even a Scorpio. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Wands. So with the Ten of Wands, you could be dealing with a fire sign. So Sagittarius, Leo, or even Aries. The Ten of Wands, this is showing perhaps a kind of relationship where there's a little bit of an imbalance in its nature. So that is one that is not satisfying. It could even be a bit depleting, where it's like it's one-sided and one person has to carry all of the carry the weight of the relationship, and it feels like they are doing that alone because perhaps that could be the emotional burden, them having the ability and also always having to be the ones who initiate difficult conversations or to look at problems, and also just having to be the person that has to always be the bigger person when it comes to resolving any situations. So this Ten of Wands is a very burdensome energy, and with it showing up, I'm seeing you moving away from that energy. This is about you walking away from something that feels like it's unfair to you, something that is not serving you. You moving away from kind of relationships that are heavy and that are strenuous on you, whereby it feels like the balance is not a fair one. The exchange might be perhaps one person giving and one person taking all of the time, and it's something that's not fair, especially to the giver. And with this card, this is all about being able to also gain some support. So with it, it's also showing that you may be at the end of that kind of a connection, that kind of a dynamic in a relationship. Also, it shows some support being brought in. So that could be outside support from friends, from family, from anybody outside of the connection who can help you and is very willing to provide their assistance or just their support, even if it is in the form of their presence, their time, them lending an ear and them being very supportive. But with this Ten of Wands, it's a card, it's all about being able to allow that assistance in, because with this energy, it also shows a person who is perhaps feels as though they have to do everything by themselves, because if somebody else does it, or if they don't do it, it might not get done in the correct way or in the way that they hope. So with this card, the message is really all about being able to let that help in. And I'm also seeing you walking away from any connections that are not serving you. And with this card, with you being able to walk away and being able to taking away that perhaps with what you give to a connection and the amount that you do invest in it, the other person, I'm really getting the other person that perhaps you are dealing with is recognizing your worth and is also recognizing just how much you actually brought to the table. And this is something that is going to be making them wake up to the situation of how unfair it is. Perhaps they weren't even aware of that imbalance, but this card is showing a little bit of a late wake-up call to appreciating what somebody else is doing for you while you were perhaps not in an unfair dynamic. So with this card, I'm seeing you able to stand up for yourself. I'm seeing you walking away from what doesn't serve you and moving on to something that is better. So the Ten of Wands, this is the end, the completion of a period, of a time, of a of a dynamic that was not serving you, and perhaps was one where you had to carry and shoulder the burden more than you needed to. So this card also is one that shows perhaps karma, because being able to walk away is what really makes the other person realize just how much you brought to the connection. And with the 10 of Wands, and you moving on or progressing from this connection or this dynamic, I'm seeing that other person begins to really, it hits them. They start to really appreciate you, and perhaps they even start to chase you. But with this 10 of Wands, I'm really seeing you moving on. It's almost as if you're fed up, you are dropping this burden, and that is because you have given it all that you have got, and this person might have some regrets with this card. And then with the Empress, so with the Empress card, this is a card that's showing you being very attractive at this time, and that is for all of your traits, the inner beauty as well as the outer beauty. You are looking very attractive at this time. It's just your beauty is radiating. It's like you're glowing at this time. And with the Empress card, this is Venus energy, so perhaps all of your more Venus-like traits are coming out, especially following that 10 of Wands. So dropping that burden or that thing that was perhaps really weighing you down and was weighing heavy on you is what is really bringing out this. It's like you are able to breathe fresh air, and it's doing you some good. You look really great at this time, because the Empress card is showing a lot of attractiveness, and also the Empress is also attracts a lot of abundance. So there are a lot of good opportunities that may be on the horizon for you, and leaving a connection is not the end. And if anything, it seems to be the beginning of an even more fortunate direction and path for you. And you may be attracting quite a lot of people. You may be getting a lot of attention with this Empress card for your and it's also showing a lot of appreciation I'm getting with this Empress card, as well as with that 10 of Wands. So this is you being valued, perhaps for things that were previously taken for granted. And then with the Judgment card, this is all about having to make a decision. So this could be you needing to make a decision in a situation. So that could even be a decision when it comes to other people. What with the Empress being you attracting a lot of opportunities, a lot of prospects, and that may be you needing to lean to a higher system when it comes to making judgments. So the Judgment card shows a transformation in the way that you make decisions. So you may also be really coming to a place where you are almost like coming back into your power. You may be also starting to adopt a different way of looking at situations and making decisions. And this Judgment card is showing you making the best decisions and having the best discernment that you are leaning on. And that can be the kind of information, the kind of education on being able to put yourself first, that could have come out as a lesson from the experience of what happened with that 10 of Wands. So I'm seeing you upgrading with that Judgment card, as well as with that Empress card. And with the 7 of Cups showing up in the reverse, this is a card all about knowing what you want. So this is not a very difficult decision that you are making with the Judgment card, because with the 7 of Cups, this shows no distractions. It is you knowing what you want and you going after it. Okay. So I'm going to pull out a card for this connection for you and for the other person with using the Lover's Oracle deck. Okay, so for the first card, so this is a card for you, Cancer. And the card that came out is this one. It says Secret Admirer. Someone has deeper feelings for you than they are letting on. Okay, and even with that card, I'm getting that this could be that person that is being reflected through the Ten of Wands. So it's possible that this is someone who may have taken you for granted, someone who may have overlooked you, or someone who was just in a state of being genuinely unconscious in a situation. It's almost as if they were ignorant, and that is why they may have been coming across as unfair in this dynamic. But this person seems to really be waking up to deeper feelings that they may have had for you, and they are coming to it, and they may be admiring you at this time. And I'm getting that they don't want you to walk away, or they may not want the dynamic to change. But this is about them really coming to a place where they begin to appreciate what they had, now that it's almost like it's almost being taken away from them. Okay. And also with the Secret Admirer card, this could even be about you. Other people at this time may also be, it could be somebody else. So with the Empress card, this is a card that shows a lot of attractive energy. So it could also be someone that is around you. It seems to be that they may be admiring you from a distance. Okay, and I'm going to pull out a card for the connection. Okay, so this is the card for the connection, and it says, deep in your heart, you already know the answer. Do what feels right. So this could be also about you and making that decision that the Judgment card is showing. So perhaps you may be making a big decision on this day in terms of your relationships and your connections. So this is a card all about being able to listen to your own internal voice, and being able to do what resonates most with you, because you already know the answer deep in your heart. Okay, and finally I'm going to pull out a card for the other person in this connection. Okay, and this other person got this card. It says, soulmate. Your soulmate is already with you in spirit. Believe this and they will manifest physically. Okay, so I'm really getting that this other person may be in a state where perhaps they were going through something and they seem to be a little bit distracted, as opposed to the energy that's coming up for you. And this is what is perhaps making them show up in this connection as what I'm getting as very ignorant. So perhaps they may just be a bit distracted, or they may just be really, and then showing up as a little bit unaware of the what's in front of them. So this person may even be in a state of almost kind of like chasing after an ideal and not recognizing what they have. So I'm really getting a sense that this person is in a state where they are failing to appreciate something or someone, and that could be leading to them possibly overlooking or missing their soulmate, and that can be you in this connection. I'm really seeing them downplaying, or perhaps they may just be in a state where they are taking for granted what they currently have and then chasing after it later when they feel like it's gone. And that is something that perhaps is leading to a state of perhaps remorse for this person. And this Seven of Cups also shows making a decision too. So this other person could be making a decision too. And with it being in the reverse, it's a card that shows being chosen. So perhaps this is them coming to a conclusion perhaps of choosing you and being able to eliminate distractions or anything that was perhaps making taking away from their ability to see your value in a situation, or what you are offering, and what you really were bringing to the table in a situation. And it also shows having those distractions being taken away, and also having the illusions of judgment being clouded, being taken away, and being able to really have a realistic view of a situation. And if this person may be experiencing something that's like a wake-up call, they may also just be coming to terms with having a very matter-of-fact perspective on a situation. So perhaps something is leading to them really being able to have a very real perspective on the situation and the connection. And I'm seeing that being something that is perhaps leading to them perhaps taking things more seriously, and also adopting a more fair and grounded and reasonable kind of a perspective. But ultimately, I'm seeing you having to make some decisions as well, Cancer. So the choice is really up to you. Okay, so that is the message that I have for today's reading, Cancer. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you in tomorrow's reading. Bye, Cancer.